I don't know if these girls is over 18, so I probably should get about this bitch. Cause I don't need no case on me, no case on me.
Sonny Daniel Enterprises.
Bad things, there's a lot of bad things that they wish and they wish and they wish and they wish and they wish on me. Got plans, got plans. Got plans, got plans.
What's up, everybody? Today we're gonna be looking at something that sounds stupid, but we're gonna see what it is. Title of this email: I wish I never won $200 million. Now that sounds crazy to me, but let's get into the video and see what she's talking about.
This is going to shock you. I won nearly $200 million.
Like, I don't even want to hear about your problems because you just won $200 million. The problems are a little bit easier to deal with when you got $200 million in the bank. Let's just keep it 100.
In the lottery. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know what's crazier?
Shit.
The day that I won that money was the worst day of my life. Yes, you heard me right. The worst day of my life.
I mean, I can understand how it could be, like you lose some family members or something like that, but like you still got $200 million though.
Because the moment that I won that money, my life became unbearable. You see, I used to live in a neighborhood with my mom, my sister, and my stepdad. I can't say things were perfect, but I used to be happy. Everything changed the day I found.
You know what though? I'm gonna keep it a powwow with you. I do think sometimes when you broke and you got your family, you can be a lot happier than if you rich and don't have nobody. When I look at myself, my childhood, we was broke. Like there was times where we was broke. You understand what I'm saying? As a kid, like long as my mom and pops, grandma was good, like I was fine. I wasn't tripping. We ain't have the craziest stuff, but like I was in heaven, man. I had my PlayStation and we was good. Like then you fast forward where I was making the most money in my life and I wasn't as happy as I was when we was broke and I had my family. Because of course I lost my dad and grandma. You already know both those situations. I had money and didn't have them, and it was a lot more sad, a lot more like, I mean, it is what it is. Where back then I was broke and I was happy. So I could kind of understand what she's saying in a sense, but still $200 million is a lot of money.
My stepdad had been fired from his job, and soon enough, we started getting last warnings on our bills, and even warning letters from our landlord. On the third rent due notice, we got evicted and kicked out of our own house.
Who the cares? Like, you just won the lottery, so.
I wanted to cry that day, but I tried to stay strong for my family.
What you crying for?
I told them that I might have just enough money that we could survive on, and that they shouldn't worry. I then took out all the money I saved in my bank account and realized that it could probably buy us an old trailer that we could live in.
Oh, this is before she won the lottery. So this is like the day she won the lottery, but this is before she won it. I get it.
And that's exactly what happened. My stepdad thanked me and went off to look for a suitable trailer that we could all fit in. And in a few hours, we were living in a trailer park.
No cap, bro. Now, I know I'm pausing the video. It is some fine honeys in trailer parks. Now, I've said this before. It's a trailer park 5-10 minutes away from where I'm at. There is some of the finest Latinas down in that damn trailer park. I'm just saying. I used to talk to a girl. She was Honduras. She had her whole family living in one. It's rough living, but hey, she was definitely fine though.
Just like that, the tuition money that I saved for months for college all disappeared overnight, forcing me to start from square one. It felt horrible.
That's rough.
And it seemed like I was never going to get a chance to go to college. I felt tears starting to run down my cheeks, but I didn't want any of my family members to see that I was crying, so I wiped them away quickly.
Can't even lie, that was really cool of her. She did take a big sacrifice. I would have definitely did the same thing though, to be honest.
Myself and went out of the trailer for a walk. It felt like the more I walked, the more I thought about my problems. There was just no escape from it. As I was wandering the streets, I ran into a gas station nearby. I wanted to get something to drink from the store, and I saw a big sign that said, "A chance to win $200 million. I laughed sarcastically. Yeah, sure, I whispered to myself. Behind me stood an old lady who heard me. She said,
You never know, dear. Life
is all about luck. You should get one. I didn't really believe her, but I was desperate.
Kind of a sign, man.
2 tickets, please, I told the cashier. He handed them over, and I took one card, then gave the other to the old lady as a nice gesture. We left the store together, and she gave me her card and said that she doesn't have a TV and wouldn't be able to know if she won. So she then gave me her address and said that if she had won anything, I can come over to her house and let her know. As I walked back home, my thoughts went back and forth in my head about what would happen if I actually won any type of money. It was a little fantasy, something to think about, just to ease my mind away from my troubles. When I made it home and opened the door, my sister, mom, and stepdad were all fighting. It looked like they had gotten themselves into another argument about money, but I was too tired to bother getting involved, and I simply went to bed.
But what happens if you win and it's that old lady's ticket? I mean, would you tell her? I personally would. You know what I would do, y'all? I ain't gonna cap to you. If I got that old lady's ticket and that old lady won, I would not give that ticket back to that old lady. But what I would do is go claim the prize and then give the old lady a nice piece of that money. But I would not give that ticket back to that lady. Hell no, I ain't that nice.
And I had almost forgotten about the lottery tickets until one evening I was reminded to check my numbers when my stepdad had the TV. It was a local news channel that talked about how the lottery money was yet to be claimed. They showed the numbers on the screen, and I pulled out my ticket. I wasn't very surprised that the numbers didn't match, and I crumbled it up, ready to move on, until I remembered the old lady's ticket.
Damn.
And pulled that out as well. When I went over the numbers, then went over them again, I felt like the room started to spin.
See, this one she gonna be faced with that challenge I just said, but I would not give that ticket back to that old lady. There is no way.
The numbers matched perfectly. I quickly reached back into my pocket and fished out the paper that the lady wrote her address on. I wanted to rush over and tell her the news, but when I held the paper in my hand, I froze. $200 million. The thought kept running through my head.
I mean, the thing is, $200 million, like, first of all, the reason why I wouldn't get that ticket and tell that old lady is because, first of all, people change instantly when money is involved. I mean, instantly. Like, I mean, you could be best friends with somebody and all of a sudden they know you a millionaire, and then it's like, oh, well, you know, I need some money, or my dog is sick, or, you know, I'm living. It's just like, it really makes stuff awkward.
I looked around the trailer and thought even more about everything we could do with that money. I bought the ticket, and my family was really struggling. I knew that we could use the money more than she could, so I decided not to tell her. I mean, she was an old lady. What would she do with it anyway?
I mean, that's a little worse than what I would do. I would still get a lady some money. I would definitely still get a lady some money. Maybe do it anonymously or something like that. I mean, how much money does an old lady need though? Like, give her 10 mil or something. I don't know. Maybe that's a bad idea though, because if she know you got it. See, I don't know. I had to think it over, but I couldn't let that old lady be poor and she really won. Like, I had to hook her up some kind of way.
Instead, I leaped up from the chair and called my family over. When I told them the news, none of them believed me, but I just smiled.
I know I keep pausing this, but you know, I'm very skeptical of everything. So if I ever did win the lottery, I don't think I would tell anybody. I don't think I'd tell my family. I'd probably tell my mama, but I wouldn't tell nobody. Like, if I was her, I wouldn't tell none of them because they all are thirsty for money anyway. What I would do is go cash that in, not even say nothing, because as soon as you start telling people, it's going to get too far. You get your ticket, you go to wherever you go. I don't even know where you go. Get your money, put your money in your account. Everything is safe. Everything is sound under your control. Then you can start passing out dough, because nah, man, you gotta be smart.
Looked back toward the TV and checked the numbers again. When it was confirmed, we all jumped and shouted with joy. It was an unbelievable feeling. Everyone started talking about what they wanted to do, but one thing we could all agree on was getting out of that trailer. We went and cashed in the ticket. There was a big news conference filled with cameras.
That's another thing I would not do, man. Like, don't put me on no camera, bruh. Like, I'm cashing my money in. You give me my cash payout, I'm going on my way. Don't bring no cameras around me and I got all that money. Like, you see what will happen. You know what I'm saying? You know what happened. In the streets, we'll show you what will happen.
And my mom was made up to look her best. Our first purchase was a big house in the best part of town. I shared the money with my mom, sister, and stepdad, and they were quick to splurge. My mom mom bought clothes from only the most expensive stores and boutiques, while my sister bought herself the car of her dreams, and even my stepdad started spending money on unnecessary things. Don't get me wrong, I didn't mind the initial thrill, but after a while, things started to get out of hand.
If anything gets out of hand, girl, it's your fault. Straight up. I told you, keep the money to yourself and give them a little piece of everything. I wouldn't even told them how much I won. Most of you got a big family like that. There's no way.
Seemed like the more money that was spent, the more things everyone wanted. Our once overly big house was being filled with stuff that was paid for, used once, and never touched again.
You know, no lie to y'all, this is where I hope, you know, the struggles that I go through are lessons to teach me when I become super successful, how to spend money, how to save money, how to appreciate money, how to invest money, stuff like that. Because people win a lottery like this and do the dumbest things, just like these people are doing. You got to be smarter than that, man. Like, straight up. First of all, that's a lot of money, so she good. But a lot of times a lottery ain't that much money. It'd be like $10 million or something like that. You buy a house that's $2 million, and then you got to realize how much the taxes is going to be. Because the other day, I know I'm pausing this a lot and talking a lot, but y'all stuck with me. The other day I was looking at houses here, and I saw a penthouse, and it was $2 million, I believe, and something. I don't remember what it was. It was $1 million and something. It was a penthouse, 2-story penthouse. I was like, man, you could buy this for like $2 million. But then when you look at the taxes, I forgot how much the taxes was. I think the taxes was like $3,000 a month or something like that, or it might have been more than that. So when you think about it, you pay the house off, and that's great, but then you still got to pay that $3,000 a month for your taxes, or that $6,000 a month for your taxes, or that $10,000 a month, depending on how big your house is. People forget that. That's why all them old boxers and celebrities end up going broke.
I was happy that everyone was enjoying themselves after struggling so much, but we all started to drift apart. It was like we were at a crossroads, each headed in our own direction, and while everyone else seemed happy to walk off toward their own idea of luxury, I felt miserable. Nothing I seemed to buy made me feel better, and the more I tried to get our family to spend time together, the more they moved apart. Whenever we were in the same room with each other, an argument would break out. In the end, I barely saw any of them anymore.
You know, I'm kind of sorry that girl didn't help that old lady at all, though. Like, you didn't help the old lady at all?
I just wanted to feel the connection that we once had. That's when I got the biggest shock of my life. A couple of months passed, and my biological father showed up to the house. It had been so long that I barely recognized him. He seemed happy to see me and talked about how he missed being a family. He was really over the top and started talking about how he
Dude, lying like hell.
wanted to be in my life again. I was so angry when I saw his face. I remembered the day he walked away from us, leaving me, my sister, and our mom to struggle alone. Because, and I quote, "I didn't sign up for this. I never even wanted kids." I told him if he didn't want us then, he's not going to be in my life now, and slammed the door on his stunned face. For the rest of the day, I felt an emptiness fill me. It wasn't just from seeing my biological father, but from the money and what it turned everybody into. A once close family.
I mean, to be honest, they say when you get money, it shows your true self. To be honest, that's what they say.
Wasn't even talking to each other anymore. My sister and I were best friends, but now I only see her when she comes by to pick up her stuff or ask for more money. My stepdad isn't the same hard worker that he used to be either. Now he spends his time wasting away on the couch, isolating himself from everything but the television. And even though my mother was never the kindest or the most caring person, now she's even worse. She doesn't even try to hide the fact that she's only interested in the family for as long as it can benefit her. She spent more money than everyone else, and she's become more spoiled. Sadly, I am not any better. I always thought that I wanted to be better than my mom, but when the money came, I realized that I was similar. I started becoming more materialistic. I began buying things I didn't need, and I started caring about what people think about me.
I mean, that's not a bad thing. I mean, to care about what people think about you. I mean, they always try to say that. And it's like, no, it's okay to be materialistic. That doesn't mean that you're a soulless person. Of course, I'm materialistic too. I like fancy things. But if somebody's homeless or somebody need help or some old man fall or something, like, of course, all of that doesn't matter. You can still help people. You still can be a good person. But you still can like diamonds and fancy shit. You feel me? Like, it's not, that doesn't mean you're not a good person still.
The worst part of all was that I even gave up on my education.
Well, I mean, what do you need education for if you got $200 million? It was a quote and it said, what's your dream job? And then she had, I don't dream of labor. And I was like, yo, that's heavy, lightweight. Because that's true. Why are you dreaming of labor? You should be dreaming of a life of luxury, not a dream of going to work every day. So yeah, why would you want to go to college anyway?
When I really thought about it, it made me sick. Finally, it hit me. The money wasn't even mine in the first place.
She better not get his damn money up, bro. I swear to God.
After all this time, I remembered the old lady and how the ticket was hers.
Now you
how
remember.
She was the reason that I bought the ticket after all. Feeling that my mind was made up, I decided to find her. I remembered her address and got dressed to go see her. When I made it to her house, it was small and looked a little worn out, but it was...
That's what I'm saying. You should have took care of this old lady from the jump, man. Like, why would you just bounce on the lady that helped you get the money, basically?
also peaceful. I knocked on the door, and there she was. I explained to her what happened with the tickets that I bought, and was ready to apologize. But, to my surprise, she told me that she didn't remember. She saw the confusion on my face, and politely invited me inside. And there, I saw her family. She introduced me to her children. She had 2 sons and a daughter, and they introduced me to their kids. They all welcomed me with a smile. A complete stranger, and they didn't look put off. I explained to them how I met their mom, and they seemed to all realize what happened. She had Alzheimer's.
Now, what you shouldn't have did is told them kids that you got money and you took the ticket from your mama. Why would you do that? That just doesn't make sense.
And it was starting to reach the late stages. Her kids came home to help their mom and brought their families so that she could feel comfortable. Since their father had passed a long time ago, I came to thank her and share the money with her. But without me even offering them any money, they treated me kindly and invited me to dinner. I was hesitant, but I missed having family dinners. So
The thing is you did tell them about the money. You just told them.
I decided to stay. It was one of the best nights I've had in a very long time. We laughed, shared stories, and played games together. The family didn't have much, but they were happy. It reminded me of what...
See, that's what I was talking about. That's like how my family was. Like, you don't have to have a lot, but if you got each other and you really tight as a family for real, then you really don't need all that extra. For real.
I used to have. So, after the sun started to go down, and I started to leave, I turned and told her and her kids my plan to give them a majority share of the money. I wrote each one of them a check and handed them out. They were shocked, then overjoyed. They all laughed and smiled. I thanked the lady one more time and walked away. On my way home, I called up my family and told them to meet me. By the time I arrived, they were there.
It's going crazy.
I walked in and saw them arguing again. At that point, I didn't want to waste any more time. I calmed them down and jumped straight into what I did. Their reaction went from shocked to screaming to anger.
You know, this girl talk too much. I don't know if it's just because, like, you be around OGs and people that's street smart, but it's like, why you tell everybody your business so much? Like, bruh, number one rule to anything that has anything to do with the street life is move in silence, man. Move in silence. Nobody needs to know anything that you're doing. They don't need to know your next move. They don't need to know your next meal. They know nothing. Because when people know about you, they know how to set you up. They know how to make moves on you. They know your weaknesses. That's just street knowledge, man. This girl telling everybody her business. Hurts my heart.
But I didn't back down. I explained that the money was ruining us. How it was like we weren't even a family anymore. There was just enough for each of us to live comfortably. and I understood if they were angry with me. After that, I walked away. It took a couple of days, but eventually, my family seemed to realize the same thing I did. My sister was the first to come around, then my stepdad. My mom, on the other hand, rarely ever spoke to me again. Her and my stepdad got divorced, and she moved into her own place. Though I was disappointed, I kind of figured she would feel that way.
I mean, what did you think? You were just gonna live your whole life just spending money, like never having no kind of other plan? Just, hey, I'm gonna just spend money every day. That money don't last like that.
After a while, it seemed like I was getting my family back. Everyone had grown accustomed to going their own way. But now, we spent more time as a family. I started college like I always wanted, and spent my time studying.
I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't see the point of going to college and you had, now she got like $100 million. I just don't see the point. Unless you just want to live that college life and party and just smash everybody and do crazy stuff. I don't understand the point in going to college if you have $100 million. But hey.
I still look back with regret about the day that I won the lottery and how it turned my family against each other. But now, I look at the good it was able to do afterward. How I was able to help a family that wasn't my own. How I was able to go back to school. And how I was able to see what really matters. Family, not money. Did you like my story?
I did like your story. I thought it was pretty cool. I would have did things completely different, moved in a whole different way, but I still thought it was a good story. What did y'all think? What would y'all do? $200 million. Who would you give it to? How would you split it? How would you move? Post in the comments. I want to know. I love y'all. Peace.